Call the meeting to order, the Oxford Village DDA on April 15th, 2024. Please rise, pay respects to the flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. What do you like?
I'll do it. It's all right. Schultz.
Yes.
Charles.
Here. Yes.
Powers.
Here.
Colvin here. Carey. Excused. Clark.
Here.
Knaus. Excused. And Cook. Here.
Any public comment on non-agenda items?
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Joseph. I'm from Oxford. I'm the new reporter for the Oxford Leader. So if I haven't met you already, I'm going to be here for a while. So yeah, just wanted to introduce myself, let you guys know so you're not like, who's this guy in the back? Yeah.
Very good. Oh, Rod?
So can you give us some background? You said your name?
Yeah, so I graduated from Oakland University in August. Before that, I did an internship at Click on Detroit. And then since then, I've been freelancing for Issue Media Group, and now I'm here.
Where'd you go to high school?
Lutheran High Northwest. It's not off of M59, but you can see it as you're driving. Yeah, yeah. So
Welcome.
thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome. Thanks.
Consent agenda. Approval of the proposed, I'm sorry. Nope. Approval of proposed agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same thing. And approval of the meeting minutes, please report to code enforcement. Rod?
Well, before we do, we have some additions we need to make. Should this be the time to do that?
Yeah, we should have already done that as
Okay.
far as the approval of the agenda.
Oh, yes.
So how do we handle that? Do we, technically, any, thoughts?
Yes.
What do we do? Go ahead.
Just make another motion.
Yeah.
Make another motion.
in reference to adding the minutes, or what? I'd like to make a motion that we amend the proposed agenda to include the minutes from the Economic Vitality Committee and the Organization Committee.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Charles to add the Orga Committee minutes and
Or the Economic
economic
Vitality.
vitality minutes to the agenda packet. So it's not actually uploaded. Very good. And it was support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same thing? Okay, now. March 2024 meeting minutes?
I'll move, if I may, Chair.
Sure.
I'll move to approve the March 2024 meeting minutes and receive and file the police report and code enforcement report.
I'll second.
Moved by Cook, support by Howard. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same thing? Financials? Financials included.
I'll move to approve the financial statements and revenue expenditure reports, as well as the bills for March 2024, totaling $17,608.15.
I second that.
Been moved by Cook, supported by Charles to pay the bills and receive the financial statement. Any questions? Roll call?
Clark.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Colvin, yes. Powers.
Yes.
Charles.
Yes.
And Schultz.
Yes. DDA report, the executive director's report, please.
Hey, hi guys. So, great month. We had a ton of paperwork to do this month, from grants to just getting my presentation ready for national conference next month. A lot of different performas that we had to do for the ARPA funding that's coming through the county. So our quarterly stats were due, and it was a very busy month. But we also got out in the community, met with a ton of business owners, some new business owners. Excited to announce we have a new boutique coming, and a couple of people that are relocating to our downtown and bring their businesses downtown. We were honored with an award from the Oakland Thrive Group, and were able to accept it. Pete and his wife were able to attend with us, and then the Librarian team was there, and that was for our Stronger Together partnership. There were only 5 that were awarded throughout the county, and we were one of the recipients, which was really wonderful to see. We met with our new Thrive representative, so Kimberly took a class, and she can go further into that with what she learned, but she took it through the Thrive team, and we let them know that we haven't had a representative since Isaac left. So they sent one out. We were able to meet with them and make some connections. So they're gonna start to do some trainings for our businesses in town, which are really great. So because we were able to connect with her, we're the northernmost community right now that they have on their docket. So they're gonna start hosting the trainings here, and then the other communities can come to us, which I think is a wonderful opportunity for us. We did wonderful with our committees. We had more people wanting to join our committees. We had volunteers that are asking to volunteer more hours and what can they do to be helpful. And I had some trainings through Oakland County and the Main Street team this month. I was able to speak to the 5th graders of Clear Lake Elementary for their career day and tell them about local government this month, what we're doing as a DDA. They're very excited to get the magnets that we were able to give them. But it was really neat to be able to talk to young people about local government and what it was, because out of all the classes that we visited that day, when you asked them about village council and local government, either they were being very shy or they didn't know much about it. So it was really neat to bring that into the school system. We also spoke at the community breakfast, which many of you were at. I think that was March. So I think that's on this one. And we're attending a ribbon cutting tomorrow. So great, great month, really busy month. Congrats to our district on getting Shopping District of the Year. So that ad that you see on the next page that is right behind my report is what we did. So they asked the businesses to put in ads thanking them for if they got first place. And the least expensive one was $500. So I thought, you know, why don't we be able to represent Shopping District of the Year, go to the businesses, see if they can pay a $75 fee and then be included in it. And that way everybody can be a part of it. So that's the ad that you see there. So that will be running the end of this month. And then also, I believe it's in here, but I think it's after that second page, the new concert flyers are out. And we booked all of our concerts, and those are our sponsors on there. So it was nice to release the lineup on social media and get people who were so excited. So all in all, good things happening.
Very good. Board committee report. Rod, you want to present that?
So we met here in the office, the village office, the DDA office. We talked about the budget and some of the changes from last year. You see it in the notes here. And Kelly, I'll let you take a lot of this here because you've dealt with it on a regular basis, but you see in the first paragraph, discussion about the ARPA money and some of the matching grants. So it comes out to quite a big chunk of money, and Kelly assured us that we have money that we can use to meet the matching requirements. Here you go. I'll do it, and you can come back and fill in details.
Yeah.
We talked about increasing the pay for our great media coordinator. I was trying to think of that title.
It's Project and Media Coordinator.
Project and Media Coordinator. We need to shorten that title. That would be a discussion for the organization for the next time. I've got a few suggestions, but we'll wait.
I also believe I'm becoming Market Master.
Oh yeah, so
Oh,
we
market
joked because everybody, when I send them to her, who is your market master that I can put in my vendor application fee? So So I told her just to make fun of her, that's her new title.
Market master,
That's in
okay.
addition to the project and.
Kind of our version of M&M, okay, I get it.
Yes, yep.
Yeah,
Obviously, we're gonna make her email longer.
Mhm.
So-
yes, of course. We discussed Director Westbrook's salary, you see here, we looked at some other community organizations, and we propose, I should say, that we increase it by 3% for this coming budget year. And as you see, we recommend that we adopt the DDA budget, and then we discussed, as you see, some repairs that are being conducted over at the Southeast Quad. There's some miscues last year. 18 South Washington Street, as it says here, needs to be rebuilt. And the future home of Vinnie's, and maybe Kelly, if we can come back in a minute, can give us more details if you don't mind on that, if the board pleases. And then we talked about the trolley, and a lot of this is on the Economic Vitality Committee as well, but on the part of this here, as you can see, it says, there's a lot of discussion at this committee meeting as well as the Economic Vitality Committee meeting about the trolley, some of the repair problems we've had, and the drivers have felt that it's a little unsafe sometimes. And in the wintertime, there was some issues with being too cold. Our director has recommended that we look into doing something on our own so that we don't become a burden of NODA, or have some issues there. We talk about pros and cons of that. We can here again get into some more details, but you can imagine, you know, insurance and finding a group of drivers that would be available. We put a lot of effort into it. The lighting project, I don't know about you guys, but I hear a lot about that when I talk with people. I get emails about it myself. And as we know, we can't do anything there until we have light poles up. We can't have people parking there. We don't want anyone stubbing their toes. And the 501c here, again, we talked about that with the Economic Vitality Committee. Executive Director would like to do that. There's some pros and cons. I'll cover that again with Economic Vitality. And as you see, some flower basket, some issues with the flower basket. Here again, Kelly's got some details. So if I could, if it's okay, can I throw those over to Kelly there? I kind of went as quickly as I could, but anything on that you want to add about the concrete repairs that I didn't really go over too much?
So everything is done over there. Birmingham Seal Coat came out and fixed the spaces that needed to be fixed. Of course, those issues were just for the mere fact that the weather came in the day after they laid everything, so there was some spots that need to be repaired. So that was no charge to us, and it's all fixed and it looks great. The last part of that project is them going and power washing the actual band of stamped concrete and then sealing that. They weren't able to do that until it warms up. DPW is going to help us out with the sealing from the concrete to the buildings and that bead of caulk that needs to go around, because they can charge us half the price of BSI coming out to do that. So lovely for Joe and his team to even offer that, because that's a $2,000 savings for us. The other part of it is the ARPA funding. We originally asked for $300,000. We have to match it at 60%. So what we have gone back to Oakland County with is a $400,000 grant with us matching at 60%. So what we would do is take 120 from our budget this year and 120 from next, which still leaves us with a $60,000 cushion this year for our capital improvements projects. So it's great. The county is distributing that money how they see fit. We did go back to them with help from our design chair, Scott Creed, who also works in their office, and he was able to get the crosswalks that we want to have on Burdick as part of that project, which they were originally not going to approve, but because it's connecting placemaking to placemaking different areas, they're going to be able to see that under the ARPA funding. So we're in a really good spot. Our next portion of that is just the numbers in the pro forma, getting approval, and then we'll sign a contract in July that says, okay, here's the money, you'll have it in hand through the ARPA funding. So we're in a really good spot.
The rest will be here. Cook, yes.
I just have a question for the crosswalks. I know those have to go to village council for approval. Would that be on May's agenda, or how soon are you thinking?
Hoping so. So Joe is helping me work with Jim Sharp for the engineering portion, and then if it's ready by then it'll come to May. If not, it'll be June.
Okay, thank you.
You know, thought about ARPA funding when I brought it up to you a long time ago. When they first came out with it, I spent some time reading through it. I'm not in the committee at the township, I kinda wish I was in hindsight, but, you know, recently at the township, there was some ARPA money freed up. So that might be something we can look into if there's some projects that the, DDA can, you know, use with that, some of that township money there too. Just a thought, so. Okay, what's next on our,
Next would be the EV committee.
should I catch my breath?
Sure.
Well, Kelly, here again, you can fill in part of the trolley. You see here, we met Marie, Ashley, myself, Grace had some medical issues. We had a Zoom meeting, which was very nice, it was efficient, and it was a quick meeting. So thank you to Ashley and Kelly for setting up the Zoom meeting, appreciate it, it went really well. So the trolley, we talked about that at length again, it seems like we might as well just make it a permanent part of our agendas. The same issues with the repair and then some of the problems that we've had with the trolley not showing up while people were expecting it to be there. And here again, Kelly, you can address it a little bit more too, so let me just turn over to you again.
Sure, so, the trolley has one issue, is that when it's being put into park, it is shaking a bit, so when you're picking people up and dropping them off. So the drivers do not want to drive it for that reason alone. Everything else about the trolley, we're in good shape. Diesel Tech has been a great community partner. It is currently with Diesel Tech right now, so they can try to fix it a little bit more. The problem that we're finding is, because the trolley is dated back to '89, there's a specific part that is no longer able to buy anymore, so they need to fabricate that part. They're having a hard time because of staffing issues fabricating the part fast enough. So I talked with Noda today. What we're gonna do is we are picking up the trolley after it goes through the fixes this week on Friday to do a ride along. Because I did have to push back a little bit, that I felt that just because it's shaking in park, I'm really struggling to see why it can't be run the next couple of months while we get this part fabricated. In the meantime, we have been putting out our feelers for drivers. We have spoke to Noda about it, and we've talked to Joe, and if it does come to fruition, what we would do is come to Village Council and ask if the trolley could go on the policy, because we already have a fleet policy because they manage DPW. So Joe is all for it. Noda is actually all for it as well, because since they've expanded, you know, they're being stretched really thin too. So right now, it's just the fact to find the drivers so that we can make the transition. Again, Diesel Tech has it in good running condition, so this is our last step.
As it says here too, we also discussed the possible in the future replacing the trolley, and that does not necessarily mean we need a new trolley. It could be we find another used one that's in workable condition too. We talked about the Partners Appreciation Project, we called it a few times. That's just about finished. I had to see Ashley today while she was winding around Meyer. It's about ready to roll, and I think what we will do is we will come to this board here and use it as a trial run. And then Kelly had discussed 501. We talked about this, what, about a year ago, I recall? Sometime ago, 6 months or so. There's pros and cons to 501. You know, the legal expenses are around, what, $3,500 if I recall. And then some of the issues there, as I put here, every year we'd have to do some tax reporting. Then the transparency, so any issues with people saying how much money do we raise and where is it going, those kind of things like that. Those are some of the pros and cons. And then we discussed historical markers within the district. Kelly had mentioned there's a pilot project with 3 buildings, right, you said?
What we're trying to do is we tasked promo committee with it to come back with each person researching the 3 buildings that they would like to see first for our project, instead of trying to just handle the whole thing at once. And then our hope would be, when we bring intern candidates back to you guys next month, is for the intern to really take that project on this summer.
Yes, Rebecca. Is there any idea what that might cost the DDA to put the bronze marker?
Yeah, so it's actually, the little plaques are only about $75 a piece. It's more so the research that goes into it, the history, and then getting all of that loaded onto the website so that when somebody walks up to the plaque, they don't just see the date and perhaps the name of the building, but there's a QR code that they can scan then and learn the complete history of that building.
And then, if I may, Pete,
Go ahead, Ben.
who maintains the website?
So Kimberly and I do on a daily basis, but then we've contracted with Erin, who created it. She used to sit on our promo committee, but she's a local company in town. And the nice thing is she's been a huge volunteer for us. So a lot of projects she just takes on, and we don't get a bill from her.
So this QR thing, she could set up a website for that too?
So it's actually gonna live on our website under a different heading on the page.
Okay. All right. I mean, it's a little thing sometimes if we're not careful with alcohol, right? So that's it.
Very good. Promo committee?
So Lee was there for the promo, but I think I'll have Kimberly do this one since, oh, you weren't there either. Okay, well, you know everything's going on. Will you at least talk about the markets and how exciting that is?
I can run through,
The Market Master?
Yes, Market Master, please talk about it.
Of course. Please bear with me. I will grab the notes.
Here, I got it for you. You got it?
Yep. No, if I don't, those are the
Here.
So, yeah. Good evening, board. Okay, so again, I was not at the promo committee, but I believe this is all material that we work with on a daily basis. So it looks like the concerts in the park were discussed. I think Kelly mentioned that already. We have all of the bands solidified at this point. We're focusing on tribute bands, kind of decade focus, and so we're really excited about those. The sponsorship also went through very quickly, I think within a day.
Mhm.
We had all the sponsorships accounted for, so that's great news as well. Letterboxing is an activity that's currently going on until the end of April. That is going very well. We had those installed last week or the week before, and we had some visitors come in that first week and asking about where the stamps were. We ended up talking to them for about half hour, 45 minutes. They came from the west side of the state, was it?
Yeah, they were a couple hours away, but
Yeah.
one lady is legit. She goes to Poland to letterbox.
Yeah.
I mean, they were into it.
They
It was
were.
pretty amazing.
They were. So it was great. Although I did hear that we do have a missing one, so we have to
I heard that.
address that. But
Somebody stole one of the letterboxes.
Yeah. But we worked with Lake Orion on that event, and so that seems to be going well. Spring cleanup we have on the 21st. We're still looking for volunteers for that event. This will be one of two events that we have. This one will be more cleaning up and maintenance and preparing to plant, which will happen in May. Business meet and greet. What is this one? Oh, so that is, we had talked last summer, and we were hoping that our intern had the opportunity, and we've also talked about it with the promo committee last year as well, about having more representation from the DDA into the businesses, specifically those businesses that we don't have a lot of touch points with. And so it was something we were really excited about, but at the end of the day, when the rubber meets the road, unfortunately, people have lives, they have jobs, and we just weren't able to have our volunteer committee members be able to go and implement that. So we're looking to hope and have our interns do that, dividing those into quadrants and just identifying the key people that we want to meet and make connections with. We did get a database last summer, so that was a profitable thing for our internship program here. We skipped this trolley. The summer market. So this is very exciting. We're essentially full at this point. We have
Wow.
capacity in Washington Square and a limited amount into the parking lot. We also have people daily asking for information on the market. So we're very excited. There's the potential to have it bigger if we would like to as we get a little closer. We're not kicking off until mid-July. So at this point, we have people that have financially contributed, and we are anticipating them arriving. It's a six-week series, so it's much shorter than last year. So I think that's enticing people to want to participate a little bit more. But the variety of vendors is going to be larger this year. There's going to be less duplication of the types of vendors and a little bit more unique focus. So things that maybe we haven't seen or maybe we can't see within the local downtown shopping district. The magnets have been very, very exciting piece for us. We've been delivering those. We've been sharing those, as Kelly mentioned, within the community, within the township. And a lot of positive feedback on that. So the activities on that magnet, I'm sure you've all seen those, but we're gonna have the Cornhole League, we're going to have the Wind Down Wednesdays, we have the car show, which I just saw today. They have a new logo and it's, do you remember the name of it?
I didn't remember.
Okay, so they have a new logo and a new tagline this year, but that'll be on Wednesdays as well. We have the markets and the concerts on Thursdays, and then we have our line dancing, which will be, it's a little confusing, people ask. So the first portion of the summer is line dancing, the second portion is the cornhole, and it's both on Tuesdays.
One of the nice things with all these events and the market that we did is we took the e-commerce site that we got through Oakland County that we helped set up, and we have a DDA shop on there, so any type of events that people have to pay for, like the cornhole and the line dancing, to be a market vendor, they've been able to pay right online. And that's the way we've been able to secure the spots and the vendors so quickly, because we don't have to wait for people's checks, we don't have to wait for them to come in, and it's been really seamless. So really exciting, because especially if we do launch the nonprofit and decide to move forward with anything, we can have it live on that site.
And the other, from an administrative standpoint, it's great for tracking. So we can like one look, we can see how many people for each event that we have an item for, so that's been really, really nice as well. Activation for Washington Square, I'll go high level and then Kelly can pop in on this one, but we started when the Washington Square first came about. It was a new space, we were very excited about it, and we crafted it the way we thought we would like it. What we're seeing is that there's potential to upgrade that in a way, and so this year we're gonna have, we joked about it, quadrants within the quadrant. So we're gonna divide Washington Square in 2 quadrants, and each quadrant is going to be a focal point. So one area will have turf for a gaming area, another will have like a more relaxed seating area, one will be more of like an eating, dining area, and then I don't know what the fourth one is.
The fourth one we're leaving open because that is actually the way that like people would get in and out. The ramp is right there.
Okay.
So, and we can go more over that in design committee, because they're really the ones that are taking charge on the new items.
Okay, so it looked like there was initial discussions around Scarecrow Fest. We're still quite a few months out from that, but just
We're waiting for the line schedule
Yeah.
to come out before we schedule it. I mean, that's really what it comes down
It seems
to.
like a good idea.
Really, I just wanted to make sure that Pete was there and Rod, right?
That's smart.
Oh, goodness. The ARPA funding, I think you guys already talked about that through the other committee meeting, or the other committees, historical plaque project as well. And then we've met with a gentleman, his name is Brian Burney. He sits on the Orion Township Board.
Yep.
Or he's a trustee.
Trustee.
He's a trustee, and he also owns a marketing firm in Lake Orion. And so he is the one who organizes the Lake Orion American Pub Crawl that happens midsummer. And so we had some conversation. It initially came about because one of his websites is it's Deals for Me. And so that just highlights all of the special deals, sales that are going on within Lake Orion, Oxford, and Clarkston. So we had talked about this over the last couple of years about like consolidating all of the like deals, kids eat free, happy hour specials, brunches, that type of thing. And he's working on that through his company. So we met with him to discuss that, and through that conversation, we thought about the idea of partnering with them for the midsummer pub crawl. So we're in discussions with that as well.
And the nice thing is he manages that and has for the years past, because it leads into the 4th of July week. So it's actually us being able to be a part of it, but not falling on Kimberly and I.
Yeah. Any questions?
One of the reasons.
Is there a charge just for that service?
For the
marketing
pub crawl?
service.
Oh, the
No,
marketing?
service.
Not for the deals I need, no.
No,
Okay.
not for the businesses. I think it's currently being funded all through advertisement and sponsorships, but, so it's free advertising for businesses at this time.
Yeah.
Rod?
Could you talk with the person who runs the, what's the senior center at Waterstone called?
Independence Village.
Independence Village. I had to speak to them briefly at the community breakfast about some of the people that are coming into downtown Oxford for different events. He didn't know anything about what's going on. I think he's relatively new.
I'll take him some magnets.
No, seriously, I think there's a great opportunity there.
Yeah.
For sure, that's a great
Concert,
idea.
Other events.
Or even
And they
like,
have a van, so we
Yeah.
don't have to rely on the
Yeah.
trolley.
it could be a shuttle. I mean, the first thing I'm thinking of is like a shop and dine day, right?
And you know what, he might even have some drivers available.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I'm all about it.
There you go.
Partnership.
There you go, see?
Mhm.
But seriously, give him a call ASAP. I just had a brief
Sure.
conversation with him, I'm sure, certainly he's forgotten about it, but those
Absolutely.
little connections we make.
Anybody else? Thank you.
Thanks, Kimberly.
Thank you.
And next is the design committee.
Design committee, okay. We talked about a lot of the same things. We've already talked about ARPA funds, cleanup day. For cleanup day, we are also gonna stay in the trolley, if we have the trolley.
Yep, so it'll be
You know what
back
it
here.
is.
To be honest, I'm just trying to figure out from a logistics standpoint right now because we can't park it in this lot. So if not, we'll just reschedule it for the May cleanup date that we're gonna have either way. So either one is fine.
We'll be planting flowers in May, and they're being grown. So that'll be great. What else? Okay, sign ordinance change. We heard this was a planning commission agenda item, and we just agreed, we support changing the sign ordinance. And one of the main reasons is, I mean, the Wilson Art Glass building, the sign ordinance, the way it's written now, that sign would have to be like a third the size of it if they were to change, to put a new sign up on that building. We just think it does not enhance the design of downtown. It would be way too small, so. Okay, planter boxes, furniture. We got some quotes for movable planters, and the idea is to put those maybe in front of Washington Square when there are events going on, so that it blocks off the traffic and the light. So we were discussing the homecoming game, we tried to televise that last year, and the lights were distracting, so if we could put something like a barrier up there that's movable, and then we could move these planters around. And we discussed, did we come up with what we were going to put in the planter boxes? I don't remember.
So yeah, some either tall grasses and some, they wanted to stay away from the arborvitae because of the watering. But they are on our agenda to approve under 9D, so we can go more into it.
Okay, good. Okay. Furniture update. We have solar powered umbrellas so that we can have lights on them that will be solar powered. So one of the committee members got quotes for all of these, and they looked really nice. A picnic table option was presented that was wood, but with wood, it wasn't actual wood, it was wood,
Yeah, more like
faux
a,
wood.
yeah, more
Faux
like
wood.
a Trex material so that it would last longer. So all of this, I didn't bring the quotes here because was actually always the plan through the grant.
Correct.
So
Yes.
we're just replacing some of those items that we had to do on the real cheap 3 years ago when we made up the Washington Square space.
Then we had a giant checkerboard idea. People could play with giant checkers. And the hedge wall for the planter boxes, we got the quote above. The quads, we talked about the signs for the quads again. Putting up signs in the arches so everyone knew what the quads were called for the patio. You know, you're in the courtyard, Washington Square, Centennial Park. We're still waiting on those quotes. What else? Oh, we made $1,500 profit from St. Patty's Day pregame, which is really great. Saw a lot of green shirts out there. We had no new grants to approve, but we're expecting sign grants to come through next month.
Next month, yeah.
And I don't know.
Yeah,
What did I
like I
miss?
said, we discussed a lot with ARPA funding with different options because we had to give them options to send to the county for ARPA funding. Talked about the Main Street event being on June 6th and just pretty much that committee, because we've had more interest in joining that committee, should probably at this point in time be closed until somebody wants to either rotate to a different one, because we do have 10 full members and they do show up. So, yeah. That's about it.
Yep, Marie?
I have a question. The sign ordinance, are you talking about making changes to the ordinance itself? or?
It's not the design committee that's making the changes, it's the planning commission for the village that was discussing making the changes, and we just support making
I
changes.
see, okay.
Yeah.
We don't have any specifics on that yet, as far
No,
as,
no, they haven't had the
sizes
meeting.
and-
We heard it's going to the meeting. Our biggest thought process on it was, you know, giving the option for buildings that have a really large square footage, just at least hearing them out and listening to them, because what we don't wanna do, we got the mock-up for the new event space, and the sign it looks silly. It really does, because that building is so wide. But they hold you to a 30 square foot right now. That's the most that you can do. So just trying to understand, you know, do we want to relook at this? Do we want to take every single one to ZBA that needs to be changed? How do we want to support this as a DDA?
Anybody else?
Was that ordinance put in place before the Williams Art signed that? Or after, I'm sorry?
The
I think it changed
sign ordinance has been
in 19, is that right?
changed like every 2 years, I think it goes
Okay.
through. I mean, it's
Yeah.
been argued back and forth and review and different options and LED
Yeah.
lighting, and I mean, it's been a long process, very contentious at times, back and forth. And I think it goes for so long, another idea comes along and it gets brought back up again,
Yeah,
so.
it's hard
It's
because
constantly evolving.
exactly,
to-
and in the most part, you know, because we walk through with new businesses, the sign ordinance, I think it really does protect us and it makes our town look nice, and I don't wanna screw that up. I want us to be a little bit more willing to talk about something like this, where you have the largest square footage for a building in our downtown, and they're being held to this tiny, tiny sign.
Anything else? Okay. On to unfinished old business, the budget.
It's my favorite. I tried to make it better on your eyes by printing out the big ones. And Pete and Brad can speak to this too from board committee, but everything was very similar to last year. We cleaned up some of the accounts, so if you see 0 in those spaces, it's because we've either consolidated accounts or, you know, just cleaned them up a little bit, and Terry, our clerk, has helped me do that. The only ones that I wanted to point out is just, you know, the capital improvements, with the ARPA funding. That seems to be the little cell that changes from year to year the most. But everything else, we're in really good shape, you guys, and I just have to say, you know, kudos to this group and this team, because we're just in such a wonderful place financially where, you know, ARPA funding comes up and we can commit to ARPA funding, because I will tell you, a lot of the communities originally applied for it when it was only gonna be a 25% match, and then when they told us we had to match at 60, so many communities had to drop out. And it just goes to show how we are responsible with our money, and we do a great job with sponsorships and everything we've done with saving, because we were able to say, yeah, we can match that for this year and next, and for it not to even hurt. It wasn't even a question. So I just think that we're really doing well.
Very good. Kelsey?
So I noticed, and we talked about this, the 3% raise for the executive director, which I'm in support of, but this does need a motion from the DDA to recommend to village council specifically, so I don't know if that was further on.
Be
Let's
9B,
get on the
I think.
agenda.
9B.
It is?
So
That's gonna be under staff review.
yeah, so I was
Okay,
gonna do
got it.
8A for the budget and then the 9B for the 3%.
Okay, that's totally fine,
Probably
just wanna make sure I
around,
wasn't
but
missed. Thank you.
Any other questions on the budget? Then I would entertain a motion that we are recommending approval of this to the village council, correct? That's how we do that?
Yes. I'll recommend that we approve this budget as presented to the Oxford Village Council next meeting.
I'll support.
Okay, moved by Charles, support by Colvin. Any questions? I would say probably do a roll call vote on that.
Yes.
Powers.
yes.
Colvin, yes. Clark.
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes,
Charles.
Yes.
And Cook.
Yes.
very good. on is 9A, the recommendation to the council for a board member application.
Pete, could we have Kelsey do this one? Because I talked about it in length with her.
Sure.
Thank you. So I've had a chance to review the applications, and I'm planning on appointing Holly Pfeiffer at the next village council meeting. It will be, I'll ask for council's approval on that. I felt that she was the best candidate because we do require a individual with a business interest in the district to fill the vacant seat. And she does have that as the owner of Oakland Corners Realty. She also has a bachelor's of business degree and served on our promo committee and volunteers for most everything that we do. So
Sounds good.
Does that require a vote?
you could make a recommendation
Process.
to, yeah, if you'd like to.
That would be as a recommendation.
Kelsey, want to make a recommendation and you lead it?
I have to, according to the state law, I have to appoint the person, so I probably
So I
should
move
remember.
that we accept the recommendation of Kelsey Cook to appoint Ms. Pfeiffer to be a member of the DDA board.
I'll second.
Okay, the moved by Charles, supported by Powers to recommend to the village council Holly Pfeiffer for the position, for the vacant board position. Do a roll call on that too then, please.
Sure. Schultz,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Powers,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes,
and Colvin, yes.
Very good.
thank you.
And that goes to this meeting, or is that maybe village
Oh,
council?
yeah, May 14th.
Maybe.
Mhm.
Staff reviews?
Well, I'll go back a little bit to the organization committee meeting. It was myself, Mr. Schultz, Raymond Devasier, Brad Jacobson, and we discussed, well, we did the staff reviews. We had a sheet that we got originally from the county, I think if you recall, Pete, and we passed around, we completed that, and there was a consensus that, as I mentioned earlier, that Cali Westbrook should get an immediate, or as soon as the system allows a 3% pay raise. I don't know when that would be. Is there, Kelsey, do you know if there's a certain time frame involved with that?
It can be whatever it can be whatever you recommend.
So potentially the May 14th meeting, you have to approve that at the village council level?
Right.
Okay. And as I mentioned earlier, we also recommended that the market master get paid another $1 an hour. So, I mean, all of us, I think we're pretty happy the way things are going. I heard that tonight, and as I've mentioned more times, you might want to hear, I know that from my experience at the DDA board, I'm sure Pete can agree that it's been a great improvement, and I greatly appreciate, you know, what Kelly and Kimberly have done. Even when I disagree with some of the stuff, I think it's really been done with the idea of making us a better community, and I certainly see that a lot of people acknowledge that. There's more enthusiasm, and a lot of it goes with the two people that are employed by the DDA right now. So personally, I thank both of you.
Thank you.
So then we need a recommendation then.
So I recommend that we change the compensation for our executive director, increase it by 3%. And I recommend that whatever that title is,
You don't have to.
The lady with the long title.
well, they were the long title, get a $1 an hour pay raise.
And 5 hours increase.
And, what's that?
5 hours increase.
Oh, I'm sorry, I neglected, thank you. And a 5-hour increase. Want to keep her busy.
Yes.
I didn't say it very fluently, did I? But do they put that a little bit more cogently, or is that good enough?
That's good enough.
Okay, then we'll
Do
need
you
to.
need a second?
Yes.
Okay, I'll second.
Okay, moved by Charles, supported by Powers. Any questions on that? Kelsey?
I'll just note that the village council only has to approve the executive director. We don't have to approve any staff. So you can keep it in the motion as it is. It won't matter, but just so you know.
Okay, for clarity.
Yeah.
Roll call on it, please.
Powers,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Colvin, yes. Schultz,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
and Charles.
Yes.
Very good. The tech grant. And the 501c3.
Perfect, yep. I'm gonna have Kimberly take the 501.
Thank you again. So I believe Rod went over, no, Mr. Charles, sorry, went over this earlier as part of.
Say that with authority, would you?
Mr. Charles, as part of the organization committee. But I believe it was requested at the last board meeting when this was discussed, a little bit more detail around the pros and cons of what a 501 would look like for us. So on the first slide, I think you should see both of these in your packet. The first slide just goes over the pros and cons that we've identified. We had a little brainstorming session with another DDA group and kind of just talked through a couple of pieces with different DDA members across the region. And then we also did, our traditional Dr. Google searching and got that information as well. But as you can see, the pro side is much larger than the cons. The cons include the administrative overhead. It sounds like it's more of just a reminder to do that each year. It's not so much a headache. It's just kind of just making sure you remember to do that. And then of course the cost, but with the tech grant that we would be receiving through Oakland County Main Street, that's no longer an issue for us. So really why we're looking to do this is to create another opportunity for us to fund some of the events that we would like to move forward with without being able to increase our budget. If you look on the second slide, that kind of walks through the costing. Even though it would be covered mostly by the tech grant, we did want to make sure that you're clear as to what it would cost. There are two potential ways of moving forward. We would be working with a consultant, an attorney who would be managing this process for us, and so that would be a fee. And then also they would be filing some legal forms, and whether it's a short version or a long version would dictate the pricing. But realistically, it's very, very likely that it would be the short version, so we're looking at about $3,300. From a timing standpoint, from when we decide to say go to the consultant, it would be about a 6 to 8 week turnaround for them to present that material and submit that for approval. And then with the short version, that would be about 4 to 5 months to get that approval back, where we could move forward and say, yes, we are an official, nonprofit. With the longer form process, that would be up to a year, give or take a couple months depending on their workload. So if this is something that is approved, we would retain the consultant. We would have to appoint a board of directors of at least 3 individuals, and then we would have to create a name. And from there, they could start working on getting the documentation together. We would move forward with signing that on our end and providing whatever information that they need, and then they would submit all of that within 6 to 8 weeks.
Kimberly, you mentioned the consultant,
Mm-hmm.
and I know we've talked back and forth about it in the other meetings. This is someone who has already done this for other communities or for other DDAs, so it's kind of a boilerplate kind of a thing that they're following it through. They're not reinventing the wheel and having to fumble through it. So it's someone that you already know or have
Yes.
contact.
So we were provided this contact from Oakland County, and this individual has worked this process through several DDAs within Oakland County.
Yep, and the one that we spoke with this week, which is Nick Klemp from Holly, he was the one who was able to really walk us through the process, give us a lot of the pros and cons that you see here. This attorney did this for them, and they worked with her. And then the recommendation came straight from Tim Colbeck at Main Street, and Tim, I believe, he would not make a recommendation without knowing it was a good one. So I do trust his recommendation.
And I will just say from the initial conversation that I had with her, she seems very knowledgeable. She walked me through the process very thoroughly, so I felt comfortable being able to speak to you.
Are you saying the $3,000 short form, that's the attorney fees? The attorney's gonna charge $3,000?
Yes, so that is where, so when we had to apply for our tech grant, that would be covered by the tech grant from the county, so that would not come out of our budget.
Do you have the attorney's name that you can share?
I do. It is Linda Burden, Berden. And she is with, do you need her firm?
If you don't mind.
It's Lynchpin Law.
Could you email it to us too?
Mm-hmm.
I'll do some back.
Quick, Kelsey.
My last question is there intention for the board of directors to be paid?
No.
Rogers.
Yes, so could you email the attorney's information to us? And you spoke with the Holly DDA director, did you say?
Yep, Nick
Kelly-
Klemp.
Yeah. Yes.
And you have not spoke with this attorney yet?
No, I spoke with the attorney, and then Kelly spoke with Nick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you know, can you foresee how the world of sponsorships would change if any under this 501c? I'm thinking of the businesses that sponsor different events. Is that a tax write-off for them?
Yes, that is
And-
correct.
Okay, and is there any other advantage that you know of?
Yes, so one, we would be able to do it where the businesses, now all the sponsorship would go through the 501. And in talking with the other DDAs, that's the way that they run it too, because it's a great advantage to both. The other part of this is too, is that we will be able to apply for grants that we were not eligible before because we would have a 501 designation. So grants that we've had to pass up the last couple of years, we would now be able to apply for.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Right.
Just a point of correction, the business can run it off regardless.
Yeah,
There's no tax benefit to having a 501 for a business. That's completely inactive.
If it's a 501
It
though,
makes no difference.
okay,
If you have a business, you make a contribution, you can write it off.
okay.
Schedule C,
I thought it had to be a
line
charity.
Huh?
I thought it had to be a charity that you were donating to.
If you have a business expense, you're advertising through the DDA, it's a business expense. And yeah, but what it does do though, I mean, because that sounds negative, what it does do though is it adds credibility. And then for individuals, it adds some credibility too. So I'm not saying not to do it, I'm just saying that, you know, as a business owner, if I would write a check to something like that, if there's a business purpose to it, I'm gonna write it off regardless of whether it's a 501 or not. Just like a magazine subscription.
Yeah, so, I mean, if I may, it
Yes.
sounds like maybe that's not as well known to the business owners, so I think having that designation could make it more enticing for them.
That's what I said, it makes it more legitimate, adds some credibility to it, right?
The other part where these DDAs are really doing well is they're doing end of the year funding campaigns or gift campaigns where we can't do that as a DDA, but we can do that with the 501. So for individuals who don't have a business that want to donate, that would be, they could write that off.
I could still do it regardless, if they have a business.
Yes, I meant individuals who don't hold a business.
Well, even there, it's not quite so clean, but I won't get into it right now, but I'm just saying that you have to pass a certain threshold to write it off.
Gotcha.
Good information, thank you.
It sounds like somebody needs to do a tag repair.
I
Sounds
need a
like a
class.
workshop.
I need a class, yeah.
Get all my stuff to Rob. There you go.
Do you need from us then to make a recommendation tonight to approve this, or where do we sit?
Yeah, so I just want to make sure that this is what we want to move forward with for our tech dollars. So I would like a vote. It doesn't have to be a roll call, but just make sure that everybody thinks this is a good idea.
Do you want to talk about the training
It's up to
association?
you, I guess.
All right. And I'll make a motion that the Oxford DDA starts the process of filing for a 501c3 status, which includes contracting or hiring the attorney to prepare the forms for us and process it. And that the money would be coming from the tech grant from Oakland County Main Street.
Second?
It's been moved by Schultz, support by Cook. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I do rules on that since it's money.
We're not spending our money.
We're not spending our money, it's tech grant money.
That's still our money, Ted. I want to get Bryce to do a roll call. Just-
All right,
Somebody
Washington,
would spend us somewhere else.
Washington Square Decor.
Yeah, so this is actually, this is coming out of our money that we received for the Consumers Energy and T-Mobile grant as part of our placemaking. So usually I wouldn't need to bring something like this in front of you, but since it was a larger amount, I just felt more comfortable. So these are the boxes that we talked about going into Washington Square that are movable. This is someone local that we were able to find that makes them here in Oxford, and the Trex is the second one that you would see. The composite deck boards is what design committee felt like would be the best option and would last the longest amount of time. So we are not looking at the 10, we're actually gonna take it down to 6 and start there, and then if we wanted to do more, then we could do so at that time, but, we're gonna do a lesser amount, and I thought I had that amount on here, and I don't think I did, so let me do the math for you really quick. No pressure, 3,100. And, these will have the locking casters on the bottom. So we'll unlock them to move them, and then we'll lock them back up so that they're not, nobody can be harmed by them. But our thought process on this was, the recommendation came from the design board, because what we want to do is really have the front of Washington Square towards M24 just have a little bit of a sound barrier. It's just so loud in there, and even with the speakers, it's hard to hear the music. So we feel like this will be almost a good wall that we'll actually be able to leave up for the markets, that'll stay there for our different events and things like that. Decorate them at Christmas time. And then if we need to roll them along the brownish red wall to add some more ambience in there, we can. But they're just really great, because if Washington Square ever did sell, there's something that could go into the other spaces within the community.
What's the board's pleasure? Chelsea?
The question is, how heavy are they, just for purposes of wind and theft?
For sure. So definitely would take 2 of us
Okay.
to roll them. We've been really, really lucky that, do you want them in your backyard? Is that what you're asking? I'm just kidding. I'm like, yep, like there goes Kelsey. But on the other side of that, that is why we wouldn't do like an arborvitae in them, because that's originally what our thought was. It'd become top heavy and very heavy with all the soil, and we probably wouldn't be able to roll them with just the 2 of us. So that's why we thought like the larger grasses and things like that, more of a rubber pellet with the soil in there, so that they're movable, but they're not going to blow into 24. And you know, because I have nightmares about the umbrellas falling away, for sure. For
They
sure.
do.
Mm-hmm.
We've rescued them,
Yep.
almost taking flight.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
A motion?
I'll make a motion to approve spending $3,100 on Trex movable planter boxes.
I'll second that. I'll second that. Moved by Colvin, supported by Charles. Any other questions? Roll call?
Schultz,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Powers,
Yes.
Colvin, yes, Clark,
Yes.
and Cook.
Yes.
Motion carries. Any items removed from the consent agenda? There were none. Okay, board member comments. Start down at the end with you.
I have no comments. Enjoy the weather.
Really?
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Marie?
I can't think of anything profound, but, you know, another good month, and looking forward to the summer months for sure.
Rod?
To repeat, I really appreciate Kimberly and Kelly, what you've accomplished. I think it's been phenomenal, a lot of good things. And let's just keep the ball rolling. And the board too, by the way, that's a big part of it. A lot of people participated in our board, not just the current members, but even some of the previous members as well. So a lot of appreciation for all the good stuff you guys have done. Thank you very much.
Just 2 brief updates from Village Council. So we are finalizing our budget. It should be approved at the May 14th meeting. And we will most likely also be increasing water and sewer rates for the village. And that includes the DDA.
We love
Nice,
the food.
thanks.
We increased ours.
Yeah, no comments. Enjoy the weather.
Yeah.
And everybody, really,
Amazing.
good job, you two.
Yeah.
Your year-end review, I appreciate what both of you guys are doing a great job, and look forward to working with you and everything else. So, with everybody else, the weather's supposed to rain tomorrow, but enjoy the rest of the week. Meeting adjourned at
59.
7:59.
Nice job.
Wonder now.